All right, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me for a Yin Yoga class. We're going to do 60 minutes of floor-based, gentle, slow Yin Yoga, followed by an optional 15-minute journaling session, which I like to offer once a month, kind of as a point of reflection for the month that's passed and the month that is to come. For this class, there's no prior yoga experience necessary. You don't need any fancy yoga props. You will want either a yoga mat or a carpeted area, a couple of household pillows, and maybe a blanket. And if you are staying for the journaling session, you can have a journal and pen nearby. If you want to stay and just listen to the journaling session, you're welcome to do that. Or at the 60-minute mark, I will let you know, and you're welcome to just silently show yourself out of the Zoom room. So lots of options there. So we're going to start. Find yourself in a comfortable seated position. You can sit crisscross applesauce with one foot with feet crossed, or Sukhasana easy pose with one foot in front of the other. You can take a moment here and rock back and forth, side to side, and sit up nice and tall. If you'd like, you can close your eyes. Place one hand over your heart space, one hand over your abdomen, and take a nice slow breath. In through your nose and out through your nose. As you inhale, feel your chest and abdomen rise. And as you exhale, feel your chest and abdomen fall. Breathe in. And slowly breathe out. And as we start to settle into a little bit of stillness and silence, just notice what's coming up for you. Could be a thought or a feeling, or maybe something that's just been following you throughout the day. Take note of whatever that is, maybe a worry or something on your to-do list. You can just acknowledge it here. And then just politely set that aside. Give yourself permission to be fully in your body, in your breath. Okay, if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. You can bring your hands down. We're going to come onto your back for the first posture of class, a fan favorite, Vananasana, banana pose. So lying down on your back with your feet close together, arms down by your side. You can take a moment here, just feeling the full weight of your body on the floor. Picture in your mind's eye your favorite banana. It can be Trader Joe's, Chiquita, Dole, Fair Trade, organic. It can be brown and bruised, or a little green, not quite ripe, or perfectly yellow. We're going to make that banana shape with our body. So start with your feet close together. You can flex your toes back and get a nice calf stretch here. Bring your arms up overhead like you're having a nice yawn, stretching up and down. And then as you're ready, start to walk your hands and your feet to the right side of your mat so that from a bird's eye view, your body makes a C curve or a banana shape. Couple options from here. You can cross one hand on top of the other. You can bend your arms and catch opposite elbow and opposite hand. If you'd like an outer thigh IT band stretch, you can cross your left foot on top of your right foot. You're welcome to have the back of your head on the floor, or roll your right ear down towards the floor, looking slightly to the right. So this is our first posture, banana pose, and we're going to hold here for 4 minutes. I'm going to set a timer now. So the basic principles of Yin Yoga are you make a shape with your body, you hold a shape, and you breathe in and out through your nose. Make a shape, hold a shape, breathe. I had someone asked me about Yin Yoga recently, and they were like, is it hard? And I was like, well, on the one hand, it's gentle, it's floor-based, you're not meant to be pushing yourself. But on the other hand, sometimes stillness is really hard, right? So if you, like me, struggle just to kind of be still and enjoy your own company, Yin Yoga can be difficult at times, and that's okay. If you ever find your mind like super wandering, right, you can just kind of take a slow breath And return back into your body, back into the posture, back into the present moment. I'll give us some time for stillness, breath, and reflection in every posture. And if at any point you find that you fall asleep a little bit, that's okay too. You're welcome to nap during class. We have about 1.5 minutes left in the posture. Notice if there's any parts of your body where you're forcing or fighting. See if you can relax just a little bit deeper. So you're really melting into the floor, melting into the posture. Take a slow inhale through your nose. Feel your chest rise. If it feels good, you can open your mouth and sigh it out. Exhale. If you're looking to the right, you'll gently start to roll your head back to center. If your left foot is crossed on top of your right foot, uncross your feet. If your elbows are bent or your hands are crossed, uncross your arms. And slowly walk your hands and feet back to the center line of your mat space. You can take a moment here and again, stretch up and down. And then bring your arms down into your puddle pose. And open your arms and legs as much as you want. In many styles of yoga, lying like this on our back is called Savasana or corpse pose. Yin yoga makes it a little bit more playful. You're supposed to be like a rain puddle, right? So you can freestyle it a little bit more, open your arms and legs as much as feels good. And if having your legs straight while you lie on your back does not feel good for your lower back, that's really normal. You're welcome to bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor and your knees rest together. And or you can place a small pillow or blanket underneath your lower back so that there's extra support there. Okay, let's do the other side of our banana pose. Feet close together, arms overhead, flex your toes back. You can stretch up and down. Having a nice yawn here. And then start to walk your hands and feet to the left side of your mat space. And for the sake of symmetry, if you crossed your left foot on top of your right foot on the other side, you might try crossing your right foot on top of your left foot on this side, or bending the elbows, right? Or maybe rolling your head to the left. However, the fact is we're not symmetrical and this side might feel way different. So if you need to make a different shape with your body on this side, that's okay. And if having your arms overhead is ever too much for the shoulders, You can always have one or both arms down so that you're still stretching the right side body, squeezing into the left side body, but without so much of a shoulder opener. Banana pose is a great way to wake up the spine at the beginning of class, but again, we're never forcing the body or trying to make the posture look a certain way. Worry less about how a posture looks and more about like how it's feeling in your body. Not only might this side be different from the other side, but this posture might feel very different from the last time you practiced as well. And that is kind of the cool thing about a regular yoga practice is you start to notice, this posture, felt good on Tuesday, but feels kind of weird on Wednesday. What changed or what happened there? In Yin Yoga, you want to do about 70% of what you think you should be doing. So, if we were to hold a posture for like 30 seconds or a minute, I might tell you to push yourself to your deepest point. In Yin Yoga, we do a little less, but we hold the postures for longer. And this ends up like really working not just into muscles and joints, but into connective tissue, into your tendons and ligaments. So sometimes, especially at the start of a posture, it might not feel like much is happening. But over time, you will start to work into the body. So just make sure that you're not pushing yourself or forcing yourself. Got about a minute and a half left in the posture. If you need to adjust how you're lying or maybe, add a prop to your lower back or move your arms or whatever that is, feel free. Otherwise, just hold still knowing that we're getting closer to the end. Take a slow inhale through your nose, feel your chest and abdomen rise. If you'd like, open your mouth and sigh it out. If you're looking to the left, gently roll your head so that the back of your head is on the floor. If your top leg, right leg is crossed, uncross the legs. If your arms are bent or the hands are crossed, uncross. And then slowly walk your hands and feet back to the center line. You can bring your arms down, back into your puddle pose. So in banana pose, right, we woke up the spine, we stretched one side of the body, we compressed the other side of the body. We opened through the shoulders and chest. And if your leg was crossed, one on top of the other, we worked into the IT band as well. So even though it might not feel like a lot was happening there, right, kind of a lot is happening. So we want to make sure to do a little Savasana again in Yin Yoga called a Puddle Pose in between every set of every posture. This is also often referred to as a rebound. And the idea is after stretching one part of your body, compressing the other part of the body, just let everything kind of lengthen and realign. Okay, as you're ready, you're going to bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor. You can take your time, perhaps rolling off to one side, taking a moment on your side, and then slowly press yourself up. Take your time coming into a seated position. Great. You're going to sit on your butt with your legs bent, feet on the floor. You can take your arms behind you for a moment and then windshield wiper your legs, right and left. Good. And then come back to center and start to let your knees fall apart for a butterfly pose. We're going to take a moment here using an acupressure point in the foot. If you are pregnant, I would recommend getting this cleared by your doctor before you massage your feet in any way, especially if you're in your third trimester. But you might already know that. Okay. If you're not pregnant and you'd like to try an acupressure point, you're going to look at your feet, look between your second and third toe, and then you're going to look down a little bit more. So just below the ball of your foot, but in between the second and third toe, you're going to place your thumbs there and press down. So again, below the ball of the foot, in between the second and third toe, activating the liver meridian in traditional Chinese medicine. And then if you'd like, take your fingertips and wrap around your big toe. You can just take a moment to press here. Stick your butt out a little bit. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, roll your shoulders back and down. We're going to stay pressing into this acupressure point for a minute, at which point you can continue with the acupressure point. You can continue sitting up, or we can take this into a supine butterfly where we lie on our back. But this acupressure point is supposed to be good, especially during seasonal transitions as we transition into darker weather. It helps to stimulate the internal organs, and kind of at a time of year where we might feel a little bit sluggish, pressing down here can help wake up the body. You're welcome to continue with this acupressure point. I'm going to offer a couple other options as well. You can stay seated and fold forward. You can put your hands on the floor, or if you're super flexible, right, elbows on the floor. You can place pillows underneath your knees and thighs, especially if your knees are really lifted, right? It can be nice to have a little support there. You can also come down and lie on your back and take this posture on your back. And we will be here for a while. We're going to hold here for another 4 minutes. So fun. Okay. So whether you are seated or lying down, right? Obviously, this is a big hip opener. It's a nice knee opener. If you are lying down, you can have your arms down by your side. You can maybe bend your arms so that you have one hand over your chest and one hand over your abdomen. Or you could even take your arms out to the side in a big expansive gesture. Lots of options here. If you are seated and folding forward, you are welcome to round your spine and drop your head. Or you can keep your back flat by sticking your butt out a little bit, lifting your chest and rolling the shoulders back and down, keeping the neck long. And again, especially if you're seated upright and folding forward, if you have a history of slip discs, keeping the back flat will help protect the lower lumbar vertebrae. Or rounding the spine right might create a little bit more of an extension through the lower back, but that can be a little bit much. If you're lying on your back, again, you're welcome to place a small pillow underneath your lower back if you're feeling a deep arch there, and that will support the lower back as well. So many of us practice 26-2 style yoga, which one of the things that I love about that style of yoga is like, at any given time, you know what you're supposed to be doing, and you're kind of told like, okay, pick up your foot. Okay, kick out. Okay, bend your elbows down, right? Versus in yin yoga, we get like a lot of options. Like, do you want to sit? Do you want to lie down? Do you want pillows or not? And sometimes this can be a little bit jarring to have that many options. But on the other hand, right, part of this practice is just trusting that you know what your body needs. You know yourself better than anyone else. You are your best teacher. And there's also no one correct answer, right? You could fold forward for half of the time, and then at the 2-minute mark, you could lie on your back. By the way, we are at the 2-minute mark. And I'll give us some time for silence and stillness here. Notice where you might be holding on to some tension in the body. See if you can just let go a little bit more. Relax into the posture. Don't try to force it or fight it. Take an inhale through your nose. Open your mouth and let it go. If you are folded forward, slowly make yourself into an uprighted seated position. Whether you're on your back or seated, I like to actually place my hands on my outer thighs, knees for support. Slowly bring your knees back together, feet on the floor. If you have pillows, you can remove those. And take a moment, and again, if you'd like, maybe windshield wiper your legs back and forth. And then make your way onto your back if you're not already for your puddle pose. And sometimes the release from a posture can be as intense as the posture itself. So we often store some tension or emotion in our hips. And sometimes, if you're doing a big hip opener like butterfly pose, you might feel an urge to cry, whether you're in the posture or when you come out of it, or maybe just some other like surge in, sensation in the body, like a change in temperature or whatever that is, or you might not feel anything at all. And that's super valid as well. But I sometimes talk to people who after class are like in a back bend or a hip opener, like, I cried. What is that? Is something wrong with me? And so I just want to be very clear that there's nothing wrong with you. And if nobody's told you this yet today, there's nothing wrong with you in general. Whatever your experience is in a yoga class, whether it's feeling a whole lot or nothing at all, or somewhere in between, all of that is super valid. You're just getting to know yourself better and trusting your own intuition. Okay, so yin yoga in general is seated or lying down. There is, however, one yoga posture in the yin yoga canon that is standing, and we are going to do it now. I will also provide a seated alternative. Bend your legs, feet on the floor if they're not already. Roll to one side, maybe the side you haven't rolled off to yet. Place your hand on the floor, slowly press yourself up. Take your time here, just sitting up tall for a second, allowing the blood to rush from head to heart. Especially if you have low blood pressure, you're going to take your time slowly standing up. There's no rush. And this next posture is called Dangling Pose. You can stand with your feet apart anywhere from like 1 foot to 3 feet between your feet. You don't want a super wide step. Your feet can be a little apart. I'm going to show you from the side. Bend your knees a little bit. Hinge at your hips, start to fold forward. From here, you can let your head hang heavy. Bend your arms. You can catch opposite elbow and opposite hand, or have your hands on the floor in front of you. This is called Dangling Pose for obvious reasons. We are dangling our body. If you'd like, you can take a moment here, maybe moving your hips right and left.
Bending one knee, straightening the other. And then just find your way into stillness, evenly distribute your body weight on both feet. Knees can stay as bent as you want. We're gonna hold here for 3 minutes. Now, right away, if dangling pose does not feel right for your body, there is a seated alternative. You're gonna place your hands on the floor, bend your knees, come down onto your butt with your feet in front of you. And we're gonna fold forward, sitting up. So 2 options, you can fold forward by sticking your butt out and coming down with a flat back. If you're pregnant, you can open your legs a little bit more so there's extra room for your abdomen. Folding forward with a flat back is really great if you have a history of slip disc, right? So you're not putting too much pressure on the lower back. You can also let your head hang heavy and round the spine. You can also place as many pillows or blankets as you want in between your thighs and chest so that you have extra support there. Whether you are in dangling pose or this forward fold caterpillar pose, you're lengthening through the spine out of the hips, and you're also gently stretching your hamstrings. And we have 2 minutes left. If you're in dangling pose, right, you also get a nice rush of blood towards your head. We wouldn't want to do this all day, but like 3 minutes or so in a posture. It's a little bit like going to the beauty spa and getting like a facial, right? Getting a lot of fresh blood to the brain. Make sure you're still breathing through your nose. This is also a great posture during seasonal transitions and during darker periods, right? So again, especially in dangling posture, you're getting lots of blood towards the brain. You tend to be sluggish this time of year. Even if you're folded forward, right, you're gently stimulating the back of the body without forcing anything. No matter which version of this forward fold you're in, know that we have about 45 seconds left. See if there's 1 more inch of your body that you can relax. Take a slow inhale to your nose, feel your chest rise. If it feels good, open your mouth and sigh it out. If you're in dangling pose, place your hands on the floor, look forward. Slowly start to bend your knees, come down into a seated position. If you are folding forward from the floor, walk your hands in, lift your hips up, or pardon me, lift your spine up so your spine is long. From here, you can take puddle pose on your back, or if you'd like to take an abdominal savasana, you can lie on your abdomen, have your arms down or elbows bent. And if you are lying on your stomach, you're welcome to look to one side. So I'm looking to the left with my right ear on the mat. Can you use your breath to realign your spine? So as you inhale, feel the backs of your ribs expand. As you exhale, feel your ribs gently contract. And use the breath to realign the body. If you're on your abdomen and looking to one side, you can gently lift your head and look to the other side. If you're looking to one side, gently look forward. Next, we're going to go into Sphinx Pose, and I will provide an alternative if being on your abdomen does not work for you today. So if you'd like for Sphinx Pose, turn and lie on your abdomen if you're not there already. You're going to bend your elbows. So you could have your elbows directly under your shoulders. This is a pretty intense back bend. You can also have your arms a little bit forward, and that will lessen the back bend. In general, in Yin Yoga, we want to relax as much of the body as possible. However, there are parts of the body that you need to activate in this posture. So if your shoulders tend to sink into your ears, you want to actively press the elbows and forearms down to keep the neck long and the shoulders out of the ears. This is Sphinx Pose. It's a nice little back bend, and it's a good way to stretch the fascia on your chest. But for a variety of reasons, being on your abdomen might not work for you today. So a Sphinx Pose does not feel good. Maybe you're pregnant with a fetus. Maybe you're pregnant with like a big lunch, like me. Okay, if lying on your stomach does not feel good, you can grab some pillows. Sit up facing away from your pillows. You want 1 or 2 pillows right behind you, and then another pillow for your head. And you can just lie back on the pillows. Make sure that you have a cushion underneath your head, so that your head is not dangling all the way back, all the way off. You can take a moment here and play around with that, whatever it is. But again, the idea is you're getting this big heart opener, you're stretching the fascia on your chest, healing the spine through compression. Oh, this feels so good. But without being on your abdomen. We're going to hold here just for 1 minute longer. I know, especially for Sphinx Pose, because the shoulders can tend to like start to sink into the ears. This is, you know, some people will hold this posture for like 5 minutes. I like to hold this posture for like 3 minutes. So it's not quite as long. The shoulders out of the ears, neck long, especially in a world where we tend to hunch forward a lot. Back bends can feel a little or a lot intense, but they're really great for healing your back. Yeah, kind of undoing some of that strain of leaning forward, rounding forward, hunching forward. Take an inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. If you're in Sphinx Pose, you're welcome to slowly come down. You can bend your elbows out. You can stay in Belly Savasana looking to one side. If you are on your back, there's many ways to come out of this posture. Of course, you can like awkwardly roll off to one side or sit upright if that works. Or you can bend your knees so your feet are on the floor, lift your hips up, remove one pillow, lift your hips up, remove the other pillow, and then make your way into your Savasana, your Puddle Pose, again, whether that's on your abdomen or on your back. If you are on your abdomen in Puddle Pose and you're looking to one side, gently lift your head and look to the other side. If you're on your back, you're going to roll off to one side again. There's no rush. Meet us in a seated position. If you're on your abdomen looking to one side, there's no rush. Look forward at your own pace. Place your hands on the floor. Press yourself up, coming into a seated position. Next, we are going to do another little back bend with a toe and ankle stretch. In 26-2 yoga, this posture is sometimes referred to as fixed firm. In other styles of yoga, it's called hero pose. So you're going to come onto all fours. And for this version, I encourage you to have as many pillows as you'd like nearby. You can start simply by sitting knees, feet together, hips on your heels. And then take a moment, open up your feet. You can open your knees as well. And eventually you can sit down in between your heels. However,
in this version. You can place as many pillows or blankets as you want underneath your butt. If you have tight toes, ankles, or knees, you could roll up your mat or place a blanket under, let's say you have tight ankles, you could place a blanket underneath your ankle so that there's room there. If you have, for example, like a knee injury, that knee that you need to favor, you can keep that leg straight and have the other leg bent. Lots of options here. From here, option to stay upright, or if you'd like, you can take it into a back bend and recline back. And for the back bend, right, you can also place pillows under your back, under your head, whatever feels good for you. Don't be afraid to play around with it. I'm gonna play around a little bit here. So I have a nice pillow under my head as well as my lower back. And take a moment to find a shape that works for you. Adding or removing pillows as you see fit. And we're going to hold here for 3 minutes. Now again, in 26 and 2 yoga, we do this posture for like 30 seconds or a minute, right? Versus in this style of yoga, we're holding it for longer. So don't be afraid to start upright and maybe come down halfway through. I'll tell you when we have a minute and a half left, at which point, you know, if you want to take it into a reclined posture, or you want to sink down a little bit lower, you're welcome to. This posture is really good for stretching out the toes, ankles, knees, quads, and hips. It can be particularly tricky if like you are a runner, a cyclist. I know we have a few folks in here who've done triathlons before. This is your posture. You might not go very far in it, right? But you're stretching out those delicate joints in the body, but you are in no way forcing the body. You want a little bit of a stretch, never a point of pain, a point where you're like making a face or you have to tense your body to stay into it. Remember, you want to relax into a posture rather than forcing or fighting it. We're at the 1.5-minute mark. You're welcome to stay just as you are. Maybe it's too intense of a stretch. Come up a little bit or grab an extra pillow or take a break. Or maybe you're not feeling anything at all. Maybe start to sink the hips down more. There's a term in Yin Yoga that I love. It's called waiting and waiting, like WEIGHT and then WAIT. So the idea is we are using our own body weight as we wait in the posture to get a little deeper. Again, you're not forcing or fighting. Waiting and waiting. English is such a confusing language. Take an inhale through your nose, feel your chest rise. Open your mouth and sigh it out. There's no one right way to come out of this posture. If you are leaning back, you can like put your hands on the floor or on your feet and slowly press yourself up. Please take your time coming up. Once you're in an upright position, you can slowly lift your hips, no rush, walk your hands forward. If you'd like to do any sort of counter stretch, like maybe lengthening one leg, lengthening the other, right? Just whatever feels good for you.
And then as you're ready, you can turn and lie down on your back into your puddle pose. And this is another example of a posture where sometimes the release is as intense or as therapeutic as the posture itself. In hero pose, we cut off some circulation to the toes, the ankles, the knees, the hips, not to like an alarming extent, right? But you don't have quite as much blood flow in the lower body when you're sitting like that. And then when you release out of it, right? So for me, for example, right now, my feet are like a very different temperature as I feel a lot of blood rushing back into the feet. So again, we're not just playing around with stretching one part of the body, we're also playing around with circulation. Not in a dangerous way, right? But right now you're getting a nice rush of blood through the hips, the knees, the ankles, the toes, which really helps to work through scar tissue if you have scar tissue in lower body joints. Okay, next we're gonna do a shoulder opener. You're gonna roll off to one side. So I'm gonna face away from you because it's a little bit easier for you to see. If you are pregnant, stay on your side. If you are not pregnant, roll onto your abdomen. From here, so I am, let's see, I'm on my abdomen. Look at your arms, identify which arm is left, which arm is right. If you're on your abdomen, you're gonna bring your left hand out to the left. Bend the elbow. You want your elbow higher than your shoulder. So the elbow's higher than the shoulder. Take your right hand on the floor outside of your right shoulder. Look to the right so your left ear is on your mat and start to roll back so that your hips stack on top of one another. Again, you want the elbow higher than the shoulder unless you have hyper flexible shoulders, but for most folks, I would recommend having the elbows higher than the shoulder. The higher you lift the arm, the less the stretch will be. And eventually, right, you're just going to roll back, and this is a shoulder opener. And if you were not lying on your stomach, lying on your side, right, it's a little bit more awkward to get into the posture, but you just have your right hand on the floor, sitting up a little bit, take that left arm out to the left, again, elbow higher than the shoulder, look to the right, and then everybody together, right, now we're all lying on our side. We're only going to hold here for 2 minutes. This is a nice shoulder opener, but there's no need to overdo it, right? You're also welcome to place pillows underneath your chest or your abdomen, and wedging a pillow there will just kind of help you stay on your side while still being able to relax. Take an inhale through your nose. Open your mouth. You can exhale through your mouth. Let's discuss how to come out of this. If you are on your side, but you're okay with lying on your abdomen, simply roll back onto your abdomen, take your time, go slow, and then take your arms down. You can lie on your abdomen in Savasana. Lying on your abdomen does not work for you today. You're going to put your right hand on the floor, press yourself up a little bit, slowly slide that left hand in, take your time, and then roll onto your back for Savasana Puddle Pose. And again, in Yin Yoga, eventually, right, you could work up to holding that posture for like 10 minutes. But a posture like that really opens through the shoulder and chest. I like to, start by doing it for like 2 minutes at a time, right? And then slowly over time, you add that up. So especially as we gear in towards colder weather, where we tend to like hunch our shoulders and like tense our shoulders up a lot to stay warm. It's important to do these shoulder openers, but you don't have to do them forever, right? A little bit goes a long way. Let's do the other side. So rolling off to one side or staying on your abdomen. I'm going to show it how it looks like if you're on your side, not on your abdomen, right? You can place your left hand on the floor close to your face. Take the right arm out to the right, bend the elbow so the elbow is higher than the shoulder. And then you can have your left arm on the floor, or if you start lying on your abdomen, you're going to bend the right elbow a little higher than the shoulder, and then roll so that left hip stacks on top of right hip. And again, I like to kind of wedge a pillow in between my chest and the floor so that I can kind of relax into the posture while keeping my hips stacked. Also, it's just kind of fun. We're going to hold here and breathe. Again, this side might feel different from the other side. Just want a gentle opening through the shoulder and chest, never a point of pain. We have about 30 seconds left. You can inhale through your nose. If it feels good, open your mouth and sigh it out. Okay. If you have a pillow wedged between yourself and the floor, you can remove that. Option to simply roll onto your abdomen and bring your arms down. Or if you do not want to be on your abdomen, just kind of awkwardly put your left hand on the floor, slowly push yourself up, bring the right hand back, and then everybody together, we're going to turn and lie back down on our back into Puddle Pose. Okay, supine figure 4. Bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor, knees resting together. Keep your left foot on the floor. Cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh. So that if you look down, your legs make a 4 shape. That's why it's called figure 4. It's not very creative. Option to stay here or lift your left foot off the floor, hugging your thighs in towards your abdomen. And if you'd like, you can grab the outsides of your legs with your hands. I like to take my right hand in between the legs, interlace your fingers at the back of your left hamstring, and pull down. Try to keep your 2 shoulders and hips on the floor. This is a great side seat stretch, good hip opener. And it's really good if you've ever experienced sciatic nerve pain, sciatica. This is your posture. There's also a seated version of this called Pigeon Pose, which can be, again, a really great side seat and hip opener stretch, but it can be a little intense. So if you're interested in Pigeon Pose, if you know what that is, if that's something you want to try, this is a really great place to start in supine figure 4. We're going to hold here for 3 minutes. Right away, notice where you might be holding on to tension, maybe in like your feet or your shoulders or jaw. Just see if you can relax a little bit more into the posture. So again, in more energetic styles of yoga, right, we're often contracting muscles to get into the asanas, but in yin yoga, we want to relax muscles to get deeper into the postures. Have about a minute left here. Sometimes at this point in a hip opener like this can start to feel a little intense or uncomfortable. That's okay. Just relaxing into the posture. Take a slow inhale through your nose. When you're ready, open your mouth and let it go. If you have any grip on the backs of your legs, slowly start to unclench that grip. Take your time, slowly return your left foot to the floor. Uncross, right foot to the floor. And keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor or arms and legs down, puddle pose. Again, you might notice a shift maybe in the hip or the shoulder or the back when you release out of that posture. Let's do the other side. Bend your legs, feet on the floor. This time, cross your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Option to stay with your right foot on the floor or lift your right foot off the floor. And you can interlace your fingers behind your right thigh or behind your legs or anything that feels good to you. And then just hold and breathe. So as we transition into colder weather, you might also find that your joints are a little bit stiffer. And again, things like supine figure 4 or supine butterfly that we did earlier are really great ways to gently open the body without putting pressure on your body from like a standing position, right? These are gentle movements to the body. And in a yin yoga class, we do a little bit less, but we hold a little bit longer. And it actually often ends up being like more intense than if you were to just push yourself or fold yourself into a pretzel, for 10 seconds, right? About a minute and a half left in the posture. Notice if there's an area of your body that you might be able to relax a little bit more. You can inhale through your nose. If it feels good, open your mouth and sigh it out. If you have a grip under your leg in any way, slowly remove that grip. Bring your right foot to the floor and left foot to the floor. Two options, you can go right into your final Savasana, or if you'd like to take a quick supine spine twist, you can take your arms out to the side, keeping your knees and feet bent, roll to the left. So left hip stocks on top of right hip, left shoulder on the floor. We did not do a spine twist in this posture or in this class. Spine twists are really great for relieving stress from the back, but they don't work for everybody, right? So we're just, if you want, you can do a little spine twist at the end of class. Okay, good. Slowly roll your left hip back down to the floor. Other side, roll to the left, right hip on top of left hip, right shoulder on the floor. Good, and then roll your right hip back down, arms and legs down, final Savasana, final Puddle Pose. Make this your own. You can place a blanket over your body or a pillow under your head or your knees or your back. Get as comfortable as you want. Take a slow inhale through your nose, feel your chest rise. One more time, if you'd like, open your mouth and let it all go through the exhale breath. I often find that after a yoga class, I am at my most calm, but I'm also at my most perhaps like creative or forgiving or open to something new. And sometimes I don't really do anything with that. I just go and I eat and I drink tea or whatever it is, right? And so once a month, I offer journaling both as a, kind of a once a month check-in with yourself if you're not a regular journaler, but also an opportunity to kind of express like a more open, creative, compassionate side to yourself that we sometimes unlock during yoga. You do not need to be like a journaler or have any writing experience to do this exercise. If it's not speaking to you, you're welcome to stay in final Savasana. You can just listen the whole time and contemplate the journal prompts, or you can just silently show yourself out of the Zoom room, either way. And you're welcome to stay and listen, and you can leave when you're ready, or you can slowly make your way up into a seated position. And if you need to grab a pen or paper, you're welcome to do so now. It's also an opportunity to grab a sip of water. I'm a little chilly. I'm going to put a blanket over me. So if you have a pen and paper that you'd like to grab, now is a great time to do that. So I pretty much always start these journaling sessions by writing down what we're grateful for. But today I wanted to start a little bit different. Before we move into gratitude, I just want to start with acknowledgement. So this is an opportunity just to kind of like freestyle. You can make a list or whatever of things that you'd like to acknowledge in your life or your experience. So an example of acknowledgement would be like, it is getting darker earlier, or like, this time of year is hard for me, or work is going really well this week, or whatever that is. But you can just make some acknowledgements about where you are in life right now. Can take a moment to sit with your acknowledgements. Maybe noticing any patterns, or perhaps is there a way in which you assigned judgment to your acknowledgements or the things that are going on in your life, maybe good or bad judgment, or just simply neutral. Next, we'll go into a gratitude practice, and I'm just going to invite you to write down, list out 20 things, 20 people, 20 whatever it is that you're grateful for. It can be apple cider and candles, or a dear friend, or yoga or journaling or whatever it is. But just writing out 20 things that you're grateful for. And as a reminder, you do not have to find a silver lining in every situation, right? That's why we did the acknowledgement practice first. Some things in life are not fun, and you don't have to be grateful for them. Some things in life are simply neutral, or they are. And then there's other things that we can always find to be grateful for, whether it's a beautiful day if you live in Washington, D.C. or North Carolina, or like a phone call with a friend or whatever that is.
can take a moment and look at these acknowledgements or these gratitude practices, I should say, and notice if you see any patterns here. Like, for example, are you largely grateful for people or nature or a certain, circumstance that you find yourself in life? Okay. Next prompt, what do you love about this time of year? Even for someone like me who struggles with seasonal affective disorder, there are also things that I love about this time of year, like wearing sweaters and boots and drinking apple cider. What do you love about this time of year? You might also take a moment and reflect on what you love about this time of year, right? Maybe your gratitude practice was all about other people, but what you love about this time of year is nature or a certain television show or sports or whatever that is. Okay, next question. So we are now, on, I always mess this up. We're on daylight saving time. Is that right? Right. So the sun is setting earlier. It is rising earlier, setting earlier. How does this 1 hour shift every year affect you? How does, hopefully I'm saying it right, daylight saving time affect you? And as you think through how this shift of light affects you, can also think towards where do you feel that in your body? Do you feel the darkness in your chest, right? In your abdomen, in your toes? What do you associate with darkness? What do you associate with darkness? Yin yoga is actually a dark practice. Yin is supposed to be the lunar aspect of our nature, the darker aspect of our nature. It's traditionally done in like a dark, cold room versus more yang styles of yoga, like hot yoga, which are energetic, bright, warm. And I love thinking about that during yoga and during journaling this time of year, that like I love yin yoga and it is about darkness in our lives. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that like part of the human experience is holding both light and dark together. So the next question is what do you like about darkness? Like where is there beauty in darkness? What is interesting to you about darkness? Because what I realize is the love and light stuff that you hear in yoga all the time isn't really interesting all the time, right? There's something interesting about like the darker side of each of us. What do you like about darkness? And sometimes with self-care, especially in colder months, we will talk about like rituals or self-care practices that you can use in seasons of your life that are a little bit more difficult. Today, I want to ask a slightly different question. What creative practice can you bring to the next few months, whether that's dancing or writing a poem or painting or cooking something new? What is a creative practice that you can add to your routine or your life in this fall winter season? Because again, as much as I love and light hashtag good vibes only yoga, it's not interesting, right? And actually this time of year I think can bring up some really interesting creative practices, whether that's writing, singing, doing improv, whatever that is for you. What creative practice can you add to your life? Okay, and last but not least, I will invite you, if you'd like, can think of a word, a phrase, a sentence, a mantra that you can keep with you for the next month. So it could be as simple as deep peace, or it could be a phrase like, I choose to love myself every day, or whatever that is for you. But you're welcome to write down again a word, a phrase, a sentence, a mantra, and you can either keep this just for you can put it on a post-it note next to your bed, you can rip it out and put it literally in your wallet, in your back pocket, or on the background of your phone. You can just take a moment here and write down a little mantra or phrase for yourself that you can carry with you for the next month. You are welcome to continue journaling for as long as you'd like, or if a certain prompt really spoke to you, you can always pick that up tomorrow or later tonight or the next time you practice yoga. And again, I hope that you take some sort of creative practice with you into a more dark time, a more dark season. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening, maybe drink some hot tea or wrap a blanket around you. Have a wonderful night. It's lovely to be here with all of you. Happy Tuesday.